Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and we are here today with the 2024 Jaguar F-Pace SVR. And if you haven't checked out my full tour and review, definitely go watch that for an in-depth look at this entire vehicle. But we're gonna go take this thing on a drive. For those that have not seen our full tour and review, here is a quick snippet of the exterior. Okay, otherwise we're gonna go take this on a drive because it not only sounds insane, it drives pretty well too. And this interior is just gorgeous to look at. So right now we are in our dynamic drive mode. We have eco, comfort, dynamic, as well as a sort of off-road, all-terrain style mode. There's a big difference between the two. Dynamic is definitely the most aggressive, and it allows you to kind of adjust a whole bunch of different parameters of the vehicle when you go into your dynamic modes, from the engine, your steering, the gear shift, and suspension. And you get some fun gauges in here from like a stopwatch, lap timers, and a G-force meter. And yes, 1.12 Gs. It is very, very quick, especially off of launch. Under 4 seconds for sure, probably under 3.8 seconds even. It's super, super fast, especially with this V8 under the hood. And let's head off. We have a nice shifter here. We can pop it into drive and sport as well. And we can also turn off traction control and change our exhaust modes depending on the drive mode that we're in. So as we know, if you guys have not checked out the full tour and review video, this thing is packing a 8-speed automatic gearbox, a ZF, pretty quick shifting, and I think they've done a good job with the shift logic on this particular one. You also have an S drive mode where it's going to enhance those shifts even more, especially in this dynamic setting. And of course, that is connected to the insane 5-liter supercharged V8 with over 550 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. It is an absolute monster of a engine, and it sounds insane and it delivers power like a freight train. Let's check out for pedestrians here. And how is this Jaguar out to drive? So we're into dynamic setting, the most aggressive setting now, and around these twisty roads, it handles in an interesting manner. The steering is a bit lighter than I was expecting when getting into this vehicle, which isn't necessarily a bad thing though. In a very high performance dynamic SUV, you may want a little bit more sharper steering. Something like a Stelvio Quadrifoglio or even a Macan GTS will definitely offer you a more sharper steering response. Though this does it in a very graceful yet direct way that I haven't really experienced in too many vehicles. It's almost like a big muscle SUV in that sense. And it's very direct, but has a very nice lightness to it. Very reminds me much of the IS 500 actually from Lexus. Now, throttle response in dynamic mode is quite good, very touchy, and as a supercharged engine, you know, you do kind of have to rev it out to really get all of that power out of it. But the AJ V8s are just iconic for those incredible thunderous, raucous sound when they're really opened up, as we all know from the F-Type SVR or the F-Type R. And it's actually quite fun to roll through these gears with these metal paddle shifters we have on here. Pretty quick, responsive shifts, nothing slow at all, no lags, and I do like that quite a lot. And these metal shifters are just a joy to even feel and use around this wonderfully gripped steering wheel. Now in dynamic mode, the suspension is also going to firm up those dampers a little bit to give you a little bit more body control. And the interesting car that you're really going to want to compare this to actually is its sister vehicle, the Velar from Range Rover. Very similar in terms of platform, but the Velar is basically removes all of the sporty nature that you're getting in this F-Pace and adds in just pure luxury. This has a blend of both, and in this SVR model you get really strong brakes, really good traction management, and of course that insane V8 under the hood. And it is shockingly fun to drive around these twisties. Again, even with that light steering, it's a really fun car to drive around. Now again, we got to appreciate everything that Jaguar has done here in this vehicle because it is going away. And it does stand a really strong competition to the existing kind of super fast SUVs in this segment right now. It's definitely a unique one, especially with a V8. And even if you pop it over into one of the more comfort settings here, it still offers a really nice driving experience. And let's say you don't want to have everything in that most dynamic, aggressive setting. You can drive it in comfort or even eco and still open the exhaust note to really let everyone in the entire area, probably a mile vicinity of you, hear you coming. Now the F-Pace SVR does have a torque vectoring style system here, though it is not a sort of differential style torque vectoring with this all-wheel drive system. It is using the brakes, so it still definitely is going to work around corners to kind of ease you into the corners and kind of pull you out a little bit more, though it would be nicer to have a more direct system, but since this car is being discontinued, we really can't really ask for much more from it. And when you really want to be comfort driving around, you can pop it right into eco mode with this Jaguar drive controller here. And shockingly, it's very comfortable and very soft. Everything kind of tones down a lot. The steering, it's even lighter. The throttle response tones down so much to the point where you can just tap on the throttle and just keep your speed consistent. The exhaust quiets down, and it becomes a pretty nice daily cruiser around. It's super, super, super quiet in here. I can't even emphasize that more enough. And that's some of the traits where it draws out of like the Velar and that Range Rover luxury there. It has all of that nice sound insulation for you, really nice high commanding driving position, and it just kind of floats and cruises along in the more comfort oriented settings here, which is a really nice kind of duality to this vehicle. And shockingly, even with all this power and a big supercharged V8, you can kind of get pretty decent fuel economy out of it, even in the mid to almost high 20-ish range, which is pretty impressive. Though if you are on it all the time, you're going to be seeing the 13, 14, 15-ish area MPG figure all the time, as once you're really on that supercharger, it's going to eat up fuel like it's starving. Now definitely with these 22-inch wheels, you're going to hear a little bit more of some road undulations and noise vibrate throughout the cabin more than a smaller wheel, but you have to remember this is a sport performance SUV, and if you're going to be nitpicking on some compromises, you may be wanting to look for a more luxury vehicle like that said Range Rover Velar. Now it does also have launch control, which is a nice feature. It's dynamic launch control, and let's test that out right now. And there is 60 really quick, and we just pulled again another 1.12 G's in that launch, so it's surely very, very quick. Never have to worry about any sort of passing situations. And shockingly, they say you can take this out on the track and have some fun with it, but I'm not too sure how many people are doing that. This is a nice cruising luxury vehicle that has all that performance aspects to it that you can just activate in a click of a switch. And for this price point, around $96,000, as this particular one is coming in as tested here, you are quite getting pretty much every feature you could possibly ask for. An incredibly trimmed interior, really gorgeous looks, big V8, all of the safety tech features that you could ever want in a vehicle are present here. And I think it's not the worst amount of money to pay for a vehicle that's this good and that is being sent off. And when you do look at some of the competitors, none of them have a V8s, and none of them are going to offer you that sound or that kind of special feel that this Jaguar F-Pace SVR. And there's also the aspect to it that not many people have this vehicle, so if you do want something that's a little bit more unique and could be cherished maybe for a little longer of a time than some more run-of-the-mill competition, this Jaguar may just be for you. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this drive of this 2024 F-Pace SVR, and definitely make sure to check out the full review if you have not done so. And as always, thanks for watching. Cheers.